Hello everyone, it's Crystal. I hope everyone is doing well today. Happy Black History Month. Today is Sunday, February 7th, 2021. Next Sunday is Valentine's Day. So we are going to do some projects in preparation for Valentine's Day. So today we are going to work with the Heartfelt bundle. The bundle comes with a stamp set and 2 punches. You can buy the punches as a set. You can buy the stamp set separately, or you can buy all 3 together as a bundle. So it's a photopolymer stamp set. There are 13 stamps in the set. Being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. So lucky to have a friend like you. There's a small heart. Love you lots. There's another more elaborate heart. Roses are red, violets are blue. Another heart. A heart that says Happy Valentine's Day, and then just an outline of an heart. An arrow. Another smaller heart. From my heart to yours, love, comma, 13 stamps. And these are what the stamps look like. This is the actual size of the stamps. So for our first card, we are going to do some heat embossing. I've done heat embossing previously, so just as a refresher, I will tell you what the steps are. And for our bundle is located in the annual catalog on page 75, Heartfelt bundle. Here's this stamp set, and when you see images that are like an off-white, that means that there's a punch that coordinates with this particular image. So there's the regular punch coordinates with this heart, and then the scalloped heart coordinates with this stamp, heart stamp. So annual catalog, page 75. So here is our first stamp. Here's my envelope, and here is my stamp, and here's my card. My card is real red cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5. I scored it at 4.25. This designer series paper is from the Love You Always suite. It's 4 by 5.25. And the paper is just whisper white with these black dots. So I took this heart with the real red ink, and I just did some random stamping because it was a little boring. It needed a pop of color, this designer series paper. And then I have a piece of real red designer series paper where I used the scallop punch to punch out that cardstock. And then I have some whisper white cardstock that I did the heat embossing on, and I used the regular heart to cut that out. On the inside, we have whisper white cardstock, 4 by 5.25. Being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. And here's our filigree heart in the corner. So before we do the card, just want to go over the technique of heat embossing. I'll take my D block, I have some blank paper. I'm going to do the technique twice just so that we're clear. So I have my D block. So I'm going to do one, I'm going to do Happy Valentine's Day, and then the second part I'm going to do this big filigree heart. So I take the stamp off the carrier sheet, and then I place it down so that the flat side is up, and then I just pick it up, make sure there are no air bubbles, and put it to the side. And then for my other heart, that says Happy Valentine's Day, same thing. Face down so that the flat side is up. Press down. So when we do heat embossing, the first thing we need to do is to take our embossing buddy. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell this anymore, but if you're looking for it, excuse me, you can find it on Amazon. So we take our embossing buddy and we just wipe the paper so that we make sure that the embossing powder will stay where we want it to stay. So we have our Versamark. It's a clear ink. So we stamp up our ink pad pretty well, and then we just stamp it. Press straight down, hold it, lift it straight up. And then I'm going to flip the paper on this side because of the way the punches work. I'm doing opposite side. So for Happy Valentine's Day, I'll ink it up with the Versamark, press down, hold it, lift it up. I put the top back on the Versamark, and I store my Versamark upside down so that the ink will be at the top of the ink pad. So I use a clothespin to hold my paper because this is heat embossing. So when I turn on my heat tool, I want to make sure that I don't burn my fingers. So if I have my gold embossing powder, I store it in this plastic storage, and I keep a plastic spoon in here so I can spoon out my gold embossing powder. So I just take a spoonful and I just pour it on here. I'll take another spoonful and I'll pour it on this heart. I stamp my hearts at opposite ends of the paper, and then I'll just put the extra gold embossing powder back into this storage container. So I need a little right here at the tip, so I'll just put that there, let it sit there for a second, put it back in there. So now we look like we're ready, but let me just do a little bit more. Let it sit for a minute. And I'll do the other side as well. Just a little bit more coverage. So I'll close my embossing powder. Grab my heat tool. It is plugged in. So this is what we'll do. This is my heat tool. I'll turn it on and I'll let it warm up. And then when I bring the heat tool towards the paper, I'm going to move in circular motions. When you see the embossing powder turn a bright, shiny gold, I'll move on to another section of the paper. So here we go. Let it warm up. quick and easy. So we can see how shiny the gold is. I'm going to see if you could. So that is heat embossing. There we go. So I'm going to do it one more time just to repeat the steps. We have our cardstock. Take our embossing buddy and just wipe it lightly over our cardstock. We take our Versamark and our stamp. We ink up our stamp. Stamp our paper. Press down, hold it, lift it back up. We're gonna flip the paper. It's very subtle. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very subtle. Now, second stamp, ink up with the Versamark. Press down, hold it, lift it straight back up. And I cover my Versamark and I store it upside down. Take my clothespin, clip it to my paper, grab my gold embossing powder. Take my spoon, and I just place some embossing powder here, some embossing powder here, let it sit, and I put the excess embossing powder back into my container, and I missed a spot, so I just put some there. This is a little light, put some more there. Let it sit, tap it back. So we are ready to, this is the spot right there. All right, much better. So we will close the embossing powder. We don't want that blowing everywhere. Take our heat tool and circular motion. And we are done, and it looks just like the first page. And it's shiny. So now that we have, I'm just going to clean off my stamps with my chamois. I'm going to take the punches and punch out these hearts. So the punches are locked now. They are stored flat. Here's the lock right here. So I push it and the punch is open. So this regular heart punches out the one that says Happy Valentine's Day. So we line it up so that there's white space all around, equal amount. And we just squeeze. So do the first one, Happy Valentine's Day. So you can do heat embossing on any stamp as long as you have Versamark and some embossing powder. So we're done with that first punch. So we take our scallop punch for the second heart. It's locked, we pull it, and it opens. So this heart goes with this, and the filigrees actually line up with the scallops on scallops on the heart match up with the scallops on the punch. So there's our heart. This is trash. And then our second heart. So I punched the heart close to the edge because I knew that in order to get the paper in and to not waste too much, I needed to orient the heart this direction, close to the edge of the paper. So punch that. So this is trash. So that's what I did for my first heart. I just did Happy Valentine's Day, and I used the scallop heart for some real red cardstock. It's a simple card. And as I mentioned, the design series paper comes like this. The paper is a part of the Love You Always suite. It's in the January to June mini catalog. It's this collection of designer series paper, black and white. You can take your markers, you can take your blends, and you can color in the designs on this designer series paper. It's on page 11 of the January to June 2021 mini catalog. True Love Designer Series paper. That's the name of this paper. And it's a part of the Love You Always suite. So for our card, I took my A block and that small heart. And I just did some random stamping just to jazz up the paper a little bit. Took my real red Stampin' pad, and I actually need to re-ink it. You see this area that's in the middle that's light? I need to re-ink my Stampin' pad. I use this color a lot for my Christmas and my Valentine's projects, so definitely. And then I always take the stamp and just stamp it on here, this scrap paper from Stampin' Up, just to see what my impression will be. So just stamp, just some random stamping, just to give the paper just some more visual interest. So you can put as many or as few hearts as you want on this sheet. This sheet of designer series paper is 4 by 5 1/4. I think that's good. Do one more over here. So close our ink pad. Once again, this is real red. I'll take my chamois, clean my stamp. And when you use the reds or some of the deep blues or the rich raspberries, you will probably stain your stamp, but you can still use it. Even though it's stained, it still works the same. So I will take, this is the inside of the card. I already have that done. And originally, I did some gold embossing on this sentiment. Being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. But since this part of the sentiment, but let's do that too, it's so small, you couldn't read it when it was gold embossing. So I just went back to traditional stamping. So grab my tape gun. This is cardstock, so I'll do all 4 corners and one of the diagonals to make sure the cardstock adheres to our card base well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So just center that. And that's the inside of the card. So I always make a point of decorating the inside of the card as well as the front of the card. So we've jazzed up our designer series paper, and this is the opposite side. You could color, if you have markers or Stampin' blends, you could color in these flowers. So do all four sides. And adhered that to our card base. So I have several hearts here. The hearts we just did today. And then I had some hearts from before that I was just practicing the technique. So we'll take Happy Valentine's Day. Take one of our hearts. And I will adhere the embossed heart to the real red heart, and then I will pop it up on dimensionals. Make sure have that, try to have it as equal. All right. So those are our two layers for our front. And then we will pop it up on dimensionals. One for each hump and then one in the point. Now put it on the lower right hand corner like the first card, and then our card will be done. So let me know if you have any questions about heat embossing, if you have any questions about the Love You Always suite, the Heartfelt bundle, anything, and place it right here. And we have a nice quick card. You could do this in mass production if you had to do, if you wanted to do Valentine's cards for your family. If you're a teacher, you want to do some for your class. If you didn't have any embossing powder, you could just use real red ink and just stamp it with the ink, and you would get the same effect, except it would be real red instead of the gold. And being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. And that's our card. Take my bone folder and just, so that is our card. My original plan today was to just do this card and focus on the heat embossing. But yesterday I attended a virtual Zoom conference, and Lisa Fleming is a demonstrator. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She's on the artisan design team. She taught 2 techniques yesterday. I missed the second technique because my husband was also doing a Zoom meeting at the same time, and he needed some technical assistance, so I had to walk away. And when I came back, the second card was done. So, but since I had already cut out the pieces, I said, well, let me just do the second card today, right now. So yesterday, this was the first technique that Lisa taught. This is, we could pick our own cardstock, pick our own designer series paper. Her instructions, she told us what the dimensions were for each of the pieces we needed to cut out. So this is the technique that she showed yesterday. I wanted to show you this layer right here in particular. This layer, the Whisper White layer is the correct dimensions. but the Seaside Spray layer is wrong. I cut it wrong. So this is an example of measure twice, cut once. So the Whisper White layer is 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And so the Seaside Spray layer is supposed to be 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. So when I took my Seaside Spray and I put it on my cutter, I counted three little marks, 1, 2, 3. But that wasn't 3/8. That was 3/16. So when I didn't check it against the Whisper White, the first 2 layers I did, but this layer I didn't check, and I didn't notice it till I already had my adhesive on the bag. So there was no going back at that time. So, so I just wanted to share that, measure twice, cut once. Here's my real life example of why you should measure twice, cut once. But anyway, this is one of Lisa's technique that she showed us yesterday. And I used the Pretty Perennials bundle for my sample. This is Petal Pink ink. I already had this cut out because I did do a tutorial on the Pretty Perennials bundle. So I already had some extra petals here. Hello, dear friend. And then I did the inside, You Make My Heart Smile. Both of these sentiments are from the Hello, Dear Friend card kit. I did a workshop on January 29th using the Hello, Dear Friend card kit. So this is a nice card to send to a friend, just for encouragement. This is 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2. This Whisper White is 4 by 5 1/4. And this piece right here is 3/4 of an inch by 4. This piece was left over when I cut this designer series paper. But my point was to just to encourage you to measure twice, cut once. It doesn't look bad because the border is even all around, but this border is different from the other 2. So I cut out the pieces for the second card that Lisa wanted us to do. I missed her technique, so I have no idea what she was going to teach. But since I have these pieces, let's make a card. So I think I'm going to definitely going to use one of these since I have this left over. I'll do a sentiment on the inside. See, I will do From My Heart to Yours. I'll put that on the inside. See, I will use my C block. Pick up my stamp. Use my Real Red. My Heart to Yours. Do a sample. I need to just all right, that's better. From My Heart to Yours. And then I'll take my little heart again. And I'll just put it in this corner. And that will be our card. We'll just put this on the front. I have some Real Red right here. It's a simple card. I like to do simple cards, quick cards, because I don't have a lot of time to craft. So if I need to make a card, I like to have my pieces already cut. Sometimes I'll cut up a bunch of cardstock and I will have it ready when I'm playing with the new cards, a new bundle that has punches and dies. I'll cut out a bunch of shapes. I'll punch out a bunch of shapes just to have them, so that when I need to make a card, I can just make it quick and painless. So that'll be our inside. So Lisa was doing some layers. So I think I'm going to stamp some hearts. Do the medium-sized heart. I'll grab another C block, pick it up. And just do some random stamping on here. I'll stick to the outside because this is going to go on top of, the smaller layer is going to go on top of here. So I'll just focus on just doing some random stamping towards the outer edges. And one more at the top. So put that to the side. And just do some more random stamping on this one. Okay. This is going to go in the middle. So let me do a couple more towards the middle. So we will adhere this piece. This is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to adhere this to our card base. So whenever I get a new stamp set and I want to make a card, this is exactly how I work. I just take things out, just start stamping, see how things look. If I don't like it, I'll get another piece. So this can be adhered to the card base. And for this layer, we're going to adhere this layer to this Whisper White layer to this Real Red layer. This layer is 4 by 2 3/4. This layer is 4 1/4 by 3. So it'll be a small, that's the border that will be around it once we adhere everything. And this will go right here. I'm going to adhere this. This is the same size. So I'm going to use the Happy Valentine's Day since that's just different. That's smaller. So I'll do that like the first two cards. And we will pop this on up on dimensionals as well. Put that in the middle. And then another quick card. There you have it. That's the inside of a card. From my heart to yours. Happy Valentine's Day. Just use my bone folder. So that is our second card. These are our two cards for today. Happy Valentine's Day. Traditional colors, but you can make this in any color combination you want. And since this stamp set has this heart and this heart and this heart that don't have words attached and love you lots, you could use this for an anniversary card. You can use the gold embossing. Doesn't have to be red or white. This stamp set is pretty versatile. You can use it for someone you love. Not necessarily only on Valentine's Day. So you can get a good run from this bundle. Once again, the bundle is in the annual catalog. Let me know if you have any questions. There's a new month, so we have a new host code. Host code is 3WGJBSSN. If you have questions about using the host code, you can visit interwovencreationsbycrystal.com/store. Everyone who shops with me and uses the host code for their purchase will be entered into a drawing that I do. I do a monthly drawing for everyone who uses the host code. So I appreciate your business. I thank you for watching. If you have any questions about any of the cards I showed you today, feel free to contact me. I will see you next week. Happy crafting.